Konnan, did you watch AEW last night?
Yes.
Joe, what were you got the numbers? I didn't look at anything today.
I haven't looked at them yet either. Let's see. I know it was down. So it was down to 814,000.
All right. Yeah, kind of, I don't know. Yeah, I was entertained by a lot of stuff on the show, but it's just like, it's like I'm entertained by like some individual performances and not anything that was like, it's like kind of weird. Like you're watching like the booking of the show and it's like I know these guys are in angles with people, so why are they having these matches against people that aren't involved in anything they're doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, did you get that feeling out of that, Konnan?
Yeah. I just
there's a lot of people involved in angles. You could do some matchups of matches within the context of the angles that have stakes or like continuing the angle, but they're just like putting these guys in like other random matches against other random guys. Okay, so we'll get to that. Yeah.
So in just about every single match, I'll come up with what you just said with an example.
Right.
And I was like you. There were some entertaining things, but there's still a lot of things that don't make sense and don't jive together. And this is the go-home show, bro. They should be doing better numbers. I don't care if Boston is playing Miami, but that game was before it, wasn't it? Or no, the early show was with it.
Right. They were both on the same time, and but whatever. I mean, like it's it's expected, but they did the same dynamic last week.
I've always said one thing, and I've seen this happen on TV and in Mexico and the United States and even in house shows. If the product is hot, it doesn't matter really what's on TV. You might lose a little bit of an audience, but not that much. When the product isn't as hot, you get nailed by something that's better. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me give you a perfect example. I believe last week they had a cage match main event with the two guys against each other that were the Wrestling Observer Wrestlers of the Year for like the past 5 years. In a high-profile match with a big angle. It's like this week, like none of the matchups rose anything remotely close to that level that would show interest of it. Like if you were interested in that match, the interest level in these matches was considerably more minimal than it was last week.
But wait a minute. Yeah. The main event segment wasn't a match at all. It was a Don Callis interview. You're telling me you weren't excited for the Don Callis interview?
I'm just saying it's like
a Don Callis interview. They said it was a Don Callis interview trying to hook you to see why he beat him up.
Why he
almost like if Brock Lesnar, if Brock Lesnar said, next week I'm going to tell everybody what I turn on this, right? But what they did is, which I thought was even better, they brought the Young Bucks and Moxley, and they brought all the star power to end the show, right?
Yeah, right. And they put the Elite back together.
Yeah, but announcing that, did they ever announce that was the main event, or they announced that he was going to make a speech?
I didn't think they announced the main event.
They just announced Don Callis is coming out.
Yeah, right, so you really didn't know until he came out. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into the show.
Before we get into the card, D.I., do you want to talk about the crazy, weird day of Punk news that it was yesterday?
Sure, why not? Is there any? I've been complete. I mean, I got on the headset with you.
Also,
I haven't looked at Twitter today. Nothing. I'm completely blank. All I know is I watched the shows last night and stuff, everything, and I saw the Punk stuff online. I know nothing about what's going on today with it.
All right,
so just real quick, you always say that, you don't care about Meltzer's ratings, but yet right now you just said that Meltzer put these guys as two of the best wrestlers. So make up your mind. Do you listen to what Meltzer says or you don't?
No, I'm talking about the number. I'm saying like my point being is Disco. No, it's not even that. I'm just saying last week's match on regular TV for two guys of that caliber that are in a top angle, that drew numbers is what I'm saying.
Right.
It's like, so you all those factors that I just mentioned there.
And apply it again. Right.
These
guys were mentioned by Dave Meltzer as the two best wrestlers, but you always kind of put them down. So
that's for that fan base, obviously.
Right.
They're well aware of this.
You're more against him in his rating system, which I don't agree with a lot of times either.
I completely disagree with a lot of the work he's putting over and like elevating to a level that I wouldn't even think that's like even this stuff is like worse than stuff from before, not excessively better than stuff. So that'd be my issue. I just you're in the business, okay? You work at AAA, and you see a lot of the stuff, and you're numb to it because you're in the company, you work there and stuff. A lot of the stuff that I don't like in matches, the die slap is you don't like it either, but you're way more used to it because you see it, you book these guys, you put them in.
Yeah, but I'm actually trying to make a concerted effort to
good. But,
not have it happen anymore. But I'm just one guy, and hopefully soon I'm going to get help. I can't tell everybody how to work the camera, not the thigh slap, not to do this, not to do that. It's because I do so many other things. So yeah.
Well, like I said, your sensibilities in watching these shows are going to be completely different than mine. Because when I see a lot of the guys, like I'll watch these guys and I'll watch the work, and the match is going good. And as soon as I see these spots with the super kicks at their nose, some of the thigh slap and everything, I find myself fast forwarding through the rest of the work. Like that's what doing this, like when I watch that type of stuff, that's what it does to me. You will watch the match in its entirety. I can't stand watching that stuff, so I fast forward. So we're watching the work comes from two completely sensibilities. And my question is like Dave keeps putting these matches like 4 stars, 4.5, 4 3/4, and I'm watching go. Then why am I fast forwarding through them? Like if they were that good, I wouldn't be probably fast forward. I'd be watching because I watch this stuff and like a lot of the work is good. But then it reaches a point where they gets into that spot where 10 minutes in the match, it's like it's almost every match that has an extended period of time. We're going to stop. I'm going to stand here and I'm going to let you forearm me in the face. We're going to do it back and forth. And it's just because it happens so much. I see it when I see it. I fast forward. Dave is giving matches like this 4 and 4.5 stars. And I'm like,
but the forearms going back and forth is just a thing from Japan that they brought over here. But I still don't like. Yeah, that's where they got it from. And what I don't like is the things like you. I don't like the thigh slapping. I don't like the guy waiting half an hour for him to throw a tope. I don't like the guy asking for the people for applause while the guy's hanging there for you to do something for you.
He's waiting for the move.
Right. Right. I've actually seen people slip on the ropes and the guy's still waiting to look. Looking at him, I'm like, bro, turn away, work your leg, look side eye. I'm not a big fan of, the overuse of blood. I'm not a big fan of blading in front of the thing. I'm not a fan at all of talking in the ring to your partner where everybody can see it. And the problem is, I think that WWE, before you get to the main roster, you kind of come up a little bit polished if you've been in the indies because you've gone through NXT or the boys in the back. It just seems that there's so many people from the indie scene that, because I call it the indies, semi-professionals,
Let me give you a perfect example. When I train, and I used to train way more because I was training I was going there every week, like once or twice a week to the FSW Center, and the crux of my training was, all right, again, I would have everybody get in the ring. Okay, give me your offensive skill set, like display, show me all your offensive moves that you'd like to get in your match. And then we do a drill where we do what I call your basic attack, which is like after you give a guy a move and it's time to you've taken over the babyface, and the babyface has took over the heel, like the start of your offense, which is punching and kicking, usually striking, like trying to make it look polished and
good.
You
mean like your comeback?
Well, not your comeback, but say you're in a match and the babyface is bumping the heel, boom, 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 and then the babyface runs in the corner and you elbow the guy in the face and you take over briefly.
Right.
Boom. I would work on drills like, hey, okay, you got to kind of know what you like to do there. I like to punch. So let's do things in that period of time that you look good at. And stuff that you do not look good at, we're just going to try and either improve it or just erase it. Like my whole thing was I want to erase the bad habits from people's work. If you're doing stuff that doesn't look good, I'll go back. I said, we should just stop doing this. Do this instead, and then we practice the instead stuff. Like you're not good giving the boots in the corner. So it's but you look at giving the shoulder in the corner in the gut. Okay, so let's take away the boots in the corner, do more of the other one, right? What I see on the shows these days is a lot of bad habits that nobody is saying, dude, your stuff doesn't look good. Stop doing the stuff that doesn't look good and just continue to do the stuff that you do that does look good.
What's perplexing to me? That there's so many guys in the locker room that want to give you advice, whether you ask for it or not. There's so many guys that are your friends that you tell them, hey, look at my match. Every time I go to AEW, it's like any other promotion. Half the staff and wrestlers are sitting in front of a monitor watching the show bro, nobody is telling you, hey, that looks bad. You need to fix this. Why does it continue to happen? Because I know if my boy is doing something wrong, and even if he isn't my boy, I'll just go over there and go, hey, man, I don't, I know you didn't ask for this advice, but I would be remiss if I didn't tell you, do this like this. You know what I'm saying? And I don't do that much, but I do when I just see it's like, I have to say something because that's kind of my job, as a veteran.
Make a point. Because I just wonder if the locker room has completely changed to the point where it's one big happy family. Nobody likes to hear criticism. So all the wrestlers do in the back, like if this is a support system, is just tell them all the stuff they did good in there. And they never really say, well, this didn't look good. You shouldn't they just like all are putting each other over because I see them every single week repeating the same spots, doing the same things. And like where's the adults in the room saying like, hey guys, this looks hokey. We need to start every match, guys are stopping in the middle of the match and that should be like a spot in a match that's been a big brawl or something, or not just you doing all your million spots and all of a sudden we're stopping and I'm going to chop each other back and forth, right?
One of the reasons they do that is because it's easier to do that than to punch, and I'm going to give you an example. The very first thing they did in the show, and I know we're going to get into it, but I just want to say this.
You're right. I know exactly what you're going to say, and I'm totally on point.
The very first thing they did on the show was the Wardlow thing, right?
Right.
Bro, his punches look terrible.
It was a bad exchange.
Bro, you're too big to look that bad. Punches are important.
Right.
And if you don't know how to throw a punch and throw a forearm, and then let me tell you what happened. I started to concentrate on people punching in every match, and you'll see how many people don't know how to punch.
Well, because there was people that met down the show that did know how to punch, and they stuck out like a sore thumb compared to the other people.
Chris Jericho and Roderick Strong to begin with.
And Dax and Cash.
Yeah.
And Jeff and Jay Lethal and stuff was a good-looking brawl. The guys looked like they were sticking to the principles of we look like we know how to fight for real. Which is all you really want these guys to look like, because, it's like
it's like in a movie. If you do a fight scene and it looks whack, you become disconnected. If it looks good, you you're
Let me give you an example, because this is interesting. Say, Kate, the Ultimate Warrior was over huge, right?
Right.
And when I got in, when I watch on TV, I was like a fan of his, right? But when I was just a fan, okay, and then no lie, this is what I thought when I was watching. But when I got into business, I realized, well, this guy's such a worker, okay?
Right.
Bro, when I was a fan of the Ultimate Warrior and a mark, okay, I wasn't in the business. He had these big giant arms, okay?
Right.
His punches, when I thought he was doing his punches, as a fan, I thought this guy's so muscular, he's just taking his big giant arms and swinging them at the guy like they're logs.
Yeah.
Okay, which is what his punches kind of looked like.
Yeah, like a
like a big claw, he's hitting you with like his two arms are baseball bats extended from his shoulders, and that's how he was hitting you.
And
as in Mark,
right? He would connect with a guy. The guy would go flying too. So right. Like, oh, yeah.
But when I got into business, I'm like, boy, wow, Warrior was trying to throw punches and he was just so stiff. That's what they looked like.
Yeah.
But as a fan, I was like, he's like clubbing this guy with these big giant arms, like for just, it's not just like punching with like a boxer's precision, right?
A lot of times when we're looking at the game, it's almost like when we bring in Chris's dad. He's a former player, so he has a clinical eye. So do we.
Right.
Where the fan doesn't. The fan's like, are they entertained or aren't they? Was this believable or not? Kind of. You know what I'm saying? Now, that was another thing. When I first read The Observer, one of the first terms, I'd never heard of this in my life. I didn't even know what the it meant. And he was like, and it was about the Warrior. They go, man, the Warrior sure blew up again running through the rig. And I was like,
yeah.
And I had to ask the guys that were in the car with me, which was an old timer called Red Bastine. I don't know if you ever met him. And I was like, yo, what the does this even mean? And he was explaining it to me. But as a fan, I didn't know what it, that word even existed or what it meant. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I think oddly enough, Red is one of the guys that brought Warrior to WWE back in the day.
Oh, really? Yeah, because he had that California connection. Yeah, probably. Yeah. So what did you want to say about Punk, Joe?
Oh, I just wanted to go over it real quick because there was a lot of dropping hot and heavy yesterday. Of course, we all had heard that this AEW collision was going to be built around Punk and maybe some other guys that had troubles, playing well with others or guys that supported Punk. But when the press release comes out, it says, it's going to feature Collision will feature Samoa Joe, Thunder Rose, and Miro, and some other talents, FTR, I think. And there was no mention of Punk. So then one of the wrestling internet guys went all detective on it and found out that in the original press release, in the original email, Punk's name was listed. So at some point yesterday, it was taken out. And what people have reported and have seemed to have found out is the fact that he was ready to come back. He was supposed to come back as the centerpiece of this Collision, big return in Chicago. And there was some kind of speed bump where Ace Steel, he wanted Ace Steel rehired.
Didn't you tell us the story yesterday?
Yeah, but there's a couple of changes. That's
okay. Okay, go ahead.
Good.
So Ace Steel, Punk wanted him back to work on Collision, and what it came down to was no, Ace is going to work from home. We're not going to have him in the locker room, and so that's the last speed bump. But what I read earlier from our boy Nick Houseman is that Ace Steel was rehired a few months ago, so he was already
Ace Steel.
Yeah, he was already rehired and working from home. Now Punk was under the impression because he was told that Ace was going to return to the road when Punk returned to the road, and now they just changed their mind on that. So that's Punk's sticking point right now.
Well, the thing is, you set a bad precedence because everybody's bringing in their boys. Where it's Kenny with Nakazawa, the Young Bucks with Brandon Cutler, and they're nice guys. He's saying, well, why can't I have my boy around? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sammy had that other guy for a while, Fuego del Sol. I don't even know what the.
Plus, it's like it's maybe a little bit of a hostile work environment still for you. It's like you're taking away my. Not quote unquote security, but it's like
when Savage had Brian Adams with him in TNA.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So
right.
All right, let's get to the show. Let's get a little preamble there. Just to show, like, I'm not a hater. I don't want everybody to think I'm a hater. I just I see a lot of the work today, and it's just difficult for me to watch because of my sensibilities. It's no big deal.
Right. Our listeners know you're not a hater. It's the people that don't listen to the show, don't know us, don't like us, and just want to read clickbait. Thanks hugely for that. Yeah. But anyways, let me just this.
Go ahead.
I was
going to say the opening segment was, Wardlow comes out. He's got a suit on, or not a suit, but he's regular clothes. Cut a promo on Cage. Cage and Luchasaurus came out. Cage got in Wardlow's face and told him that his time as champion was over, and both then traded insults that were picked up by the camera Mike, and Wardlow grabbed Cage by the throat. And when Luchasaurus tried to intervene, Wardlow hit him, they had a brawl there that did not look good. Like we said earlier, just it's not a good looking brawl. And there was a spot there at the end where Wardlow hit Luchasaurus with a headbutt, and it's like he headbutted him
and he sold to the chest.
Right, and it didn't even look hard. It was
right,
just,
who would fall from that? Right,
it didn't look good. It was just, and those guys have been doing good TV. This spot, unfortunately for them, did not work. Okay, but Cage got good heat here, and it's funny because Cage gave his kill switch thing on the ladder, and you could tell that I think his elbow hit the thing really hard because he was he was selling it and trying not to sell it at the end. If you watch the expression on his face, because you could tell he hit the ladder hard with his arms or something, and he was just like when your funny bone gets hit.
Right.
It looked like that, and he was trying not to sell it, but you can still tell he was selling it. So, but I'm a fan. They opened up with heat, and Wardlow got laid down. The heels had raised the belt, and they were high because it's a 2-on-1 attack. They should have gotten heat. So the booking of this was fine. The execution was not. What did you think?
Yeah, that's the exact same thing, bro. I thought this was short but sweet. Wardlow doesn't throw good punches, which, as I said before, is very important for someone his size. I personally thought they could have executed the heat better. Same thing you said, aka the beatdown. People weren't super into it like I thought they would, especially for an opening segment when people are usually very hot. And I think the reason is because they damaged Wardlow. And even though they're trying to rehabilitate the damage, they ain't there yet. Plus, I wanted to see Luchasaurus versus Wardlow, but now it looks like it's going to be against Captain Charisma. Maybe they're stretching this by maybe they're stretching this by putting Captain Charisma versus Wardlow, giving Wardlow the W. In the meantime, we're going to get good promos, and he gets sympathy because Luchasaurus will be involved, and then he turns his attention to Luchasaurus, and that keeps the three occupied for a while with good matches and promos. That's what I'm thinking. But the other thing that just came to my mind right now is, bro, how awesome would it be if Wardlow was wrestling Brian Cage?
Right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're doing nothing with him. They signed him up again. They got him in a group that he doesn't look like he should even be in that group. They don't have no visual chemistry or real life chemistry. But anyways, yeah, that's what I have to say about the first match. I know they're gonna have good matches and good promos, not good execution in the what they did.
Honestly, dude, if you watch this, if you ever go watch it back, I doubt I will. You will. But bro, I think the brawl looked so not good that the fans didn't get with anything after that.
Yeah,
that's part of it too. That's I think what happened. So next was all right. So this was weird. Like I said, Orange Cassidy's entertaining. Is actually a pretty good worker. Darby Allin to me is an attraction. I think when he's on TV and he wrestles, he does a lot of things that look very realistic. I think he brings it his. Like I said, he's very entertaining visual television, right? And so Orange Cassidy's doing the TNT title. He just became friends with who's the guy? Bandito. The Bandito guy, right?
The international title.
No, the international title. But
the only reason I know that is because I just found out it was changed to international from All Atlantic. I was like, what the hell's the international?
Yeah, well, they changed the name, yeah.
Yeah.
So Orange Cassidy, he's formed a relationship with this Bandito kid. Bandito didn't come out with him here, and the wrestling Lee Moriarty and Big Bill for some reason, like all these guys, like I'm thinking like where their storylines are and everything. Why was this match happening? Because like this is just a random matchup with no heat. The Lee Moriarty kid is he's a step slow green is the best way I want to put it. Like he's like there was a spot in this match, very weird. I don't know if it's like late in the match. And Moriarty's the type of guy that goes in they do a lot of spots where they turn around and run and hit the ropes and the guy's standing right, just like a lot of like missed clotheslines that don't look very good. Just the guy's green, but there was a spot he goes charging at Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy goes for a backdrop. Lee Moriarty leapfrogged him. Lee Moriarty continued through the leapfrog, climbed, slid out of the ring through the second rope and the bottom rope. Like he did the leapfrog and he sort of dove out of the ring under the second, third rope. Big Bill was still in there. They were doing a spot. Lee Moriarty ran around the other side of the ring, the other corner, and just came right back into the ring. And it was like the most weird. And I was like, I rewound the spot. And I was like, what on earth were they like? What did they call here? And what was missed? And was this actually supposed to be the spot? Because it was like one of the weirdest looking things I've ever seen. He ran out of this. He's in the middle of the ring wrestling. Leapfrog the guy, dove out of the ring and ran around and ran back into the ring. And they picked it up right after. I don't know. It was just weird. But
that made no sense.
It was a very weird looking spot. If you go back, but it's what I nitpicked out of that. And if anybody watched it and saw that too, I'd like to know what you think, because I thought that was it's just like if this was an actual fight, I was like, what was this guy doing, right? But Darby Allin always brings it. He looked good. Big Bill looked good getting his shit in, but then he has to sell for these little guys too much. And the baby faces go over. This is like 11 minutes, but it's like Big Bill looks like Luger. Remember Luger had the black jeans and just the boots when he's in the NWO? Yeah. That doesn't work for Big Bill though. He looks like a guy. He looks like a guy that forgot his gear. Is that what that looks like, Konnan?
Yeah.
What did you think of this match?
Let me see. Okay, so again, Bill and Moriarty are a perfect example of two guys that don't look like they hang out together. There's no visual chemistry. There's no real chemistry. That seems to be a big point of mine with a lot of these groups that are thrown together. Bill does a good job of, the big guy, powerful big guy, kind of like what Luchasaurus should be doing instead of flips, and I think he's transitioning to that. But bro, this is no disrespect, but Moriarty just reeks of mid-card, which is okay, but this isn't the match for him with bigger names backstage. You're trying to draw an audience. Put him on Collision or Rampage, build him up. Oh, so how is he supposed to get over if he ain't on TV? Being on TV is not enough. How many people are...
He's losing every match he wrestles.
Right. How many people are on TV and aren't over? You need a good storyline. You need to get yourself over, which he's not. And by the way, I'm looking to sit under the learning tree of whoever was the Rhodes Scholar who had the ingenuity to come up with the moniker Big Bill. He should be writing the show, by the way. A little factoid, and there's a reason I was part of the triumvirate of useless trivia aptly named by Chris Jericho, including myself and Raven. Do you know who's the only president, Joe, to be a Rhodes Scholar?
Teddy Roosevelt.
No, but good guess.
I don't know either.
Clinton.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, anyways, unfortunately, this match made no sense. And sometimes you're going to have matches with no build-up or reason, but it's better when you do have a build-up and a reason. I mean, I have like empathy for what Tony does because that's what I do, but I'm going to critique what could be done better. You know what I'm saying? And it was just 4 guys that were thrown together in a match with little rhyme or reason. This seems to happen a lot, and I understand. But how can you not have anything long-term for Orange? He's super over, you know? I guess he's doing something with the Best Friends and Bandito. Do you know what that is, Joe?
No. Here's what he's doing. We'll get to. Let's get to.
Okay, Darby. At least Darby's in the MJF storyline. Okay, but I'm not a big fan of him. We're going to get to it in a minute. I'm not a big fan of these guys kind of being all friendly. You know what I'm saying? Sammy has respect for him. Sammy goes into the ring to help them. And, you know, like this team of Big Bill and Lee, they have zero chemistry. The one with Roosh and Vance, they have zero chemistry. Blow it up. And while you're at it, I'm serious, bro. Blow up the Dark Order too. And, you know, just make new feuds and make factions with chemistry and a reason why they're uniting. If you watch any Marvel thing like the Avengers or Fantastic Four, the X-Men, they all explain why they're together and their backstories, you know?
Right. So next was so they go back to the stage. They show the Bucks arriving in the parking lot, the underground parking lot. Alex Marvez approached him and asked him what was going on with Kenny Omega. Blackpool Combat Club shows up behind him. The Bucks turn around and say, "Hey, we're not here to fight." They take their suitcases and throw it at him, and they get beat up. They don't look that tough. I mean, I'm gonna call it like I see it. They don't like they physically don't look like tough like the other guys, but they don't wear any clothes that kind of hide that. They're in like, I don't know, they just look like a.
No, here's the problem. They don't really fight tough. They do like wrestling moves.
Wrestling moves and high flying. Yeah, right, exactly. But it's like so I'm saying they don't like doing these brawls like putting them in against these guys is like, I don't know. It's just
brawling isn't their strong point.
No, it's not their strong point at all. Yeah,
a lot of strong points. Brawling isn't one of them. At least I wasn't here.
So they got beat up. So then they go to Renee Paquette, and she's in Wardlow's training room, and Arn Anderson showed up and took Wardlow's towel and threw it against the wall. And he said that Wardlow said he had Anderson stay backstage early because of what happened. And Anderson asked Wardlow what he was prepared to do. And Wardlow said he would beat Cage in his own game, and he challenged Cage to face him in a ladder match for the TNT title at Double or Nothing. Then they go to Orange Cassidy. He's interviewed by Renee, who know that Kyle So Kyle Fletcher last week, did a deal, and they didn't really follow. It's like them sitting, like, I don't know. They could have, like, it's like they have a meaningless match early in the show, and then afterwards we're addressing Kyle Fletcher. So, Kyle Fletcher showed he won a shot at the AEW National Championship, and said there are a lot of people who want a shot at his title, and Cassidy told potential challengers to find Tony Khan, he would fight them all.
Right. Why wasn't Kyle Fletcher? What's his name? Fletcher.
Kyle Fletcher. Yeah.
Kyle Fletcher in a match with Orange Cassidy this week, or why didn't he attack him during the promo?
Or cut a promo on him, or they cut a promo. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Very easy. Come on. Yeah.
You know what? I just thought about this, and who knows if we'll make the change or not. But we haven't talked about it at all. Collision comes on TV. It's a Saturday night show. What if it becomes the better show? Would we substitute Collision reviews for Dynamite, or review them both?
No,
I highly doubt Collision will be better, but.
All right. So next, so speaking of meaningless matches, so this is a go home for the pay-per-view, and Sammy Guevara's got a squash match against some guy I've never heard of, Exodus Prime.
Yeah, that was quick, wasn't it?
Exodus Prime makes our way onto the go home show for the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And afterwards, Sammy delivered a promo, and he beat the guy in 20 seconds.
The pay-per-view Sunday or Saturday?
Yeah, Sunday night. Yeah. He recalled wrestling the Texas Indies. He said he remembered good times, bad times, and drama. And he said, I'll broaden where he is today. And he said he knows he's not perfect and made a lot of mistakes. And he said the Texas fans saw him grow up in front of them and saw his mistakes firsthand. Then Guevara said sometimes it takes a few wrong turns to get to the right place, and the right place is AEW Double or Nothing. And Guevara said he's never listened to naysayers. He listens to his heart, which tells him that he'll...
Sorry, the following Sunday, Memorial Day weekend.
Are you sure?
Yeah. It's May 20th.
Oh, 29th, right? 28th, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so all of a sudden, Sammy, who has been a heel for the past like 5 weeks with MJF is cuts a babyface promo, and I don't know. I just sounded, to me, it's just out of character for him. Like I don't understand.
I'm going to tell you something. You're going to agree with it.
What?
This is the problem. First of all, they squashed this guy who, cool name, by the way, Exodus Prime. Yeah.
Too bad his name is Transformers Mark or something.
Right, exactly. Too bad his name is better than what they think of him. Nothing. But and the great name for a finish, Sammy Guevara's finish, Go to Hell. Right. That's the first time I caught that. Okay, here's the problem. Sammy Guevara in his hometown comes out and he cuts another babyface promo. Right?
Right. Uh-huh.
And I'm thinking to myself, wouldn't it be nice to have some sort of build to why he changed his attitude and just hoping the fans go along with it? You know, just coming out and saying, hey, MJF used me, Ty helped me see it. I'm not a big fan of this babyface promo for the reasons I just said. I mean, think about this, Glenn, and I think this is where you're going to agree with me. He said on TV that he would take a dive for MJF. They kissed, they hugged, they did everything except blow each other. Didn't they give each other a scarf or something?
Yeah,
but he made him look stupid.
Yeah.
The whole story
and now, wait a minute. He made him look stupid, and then now he's not taking a dive. Why? What happened? What changed your mind? Why can't that be explained?
I don't know. It was a silly angle to begin with, and they've pigeonholed themselves, and this is where they are. Right. It's like I don't know. It's like
They didn't need to change nothing. They didn't need to change nothing. They should have kept the match as is.
I'm not interested in this, but here's what I am interested in. I liked this. This I liked. Tony Schiavone stood in the ring and introduced Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh, Dutt, and they brought out two guitars that said Cash and Dax written on either one. Then Lethal started to speak from the stage, and then Dax and Cash ran out and immediately pushed Singh off the stage and crashed into some tables on the floor. FTR brawled with the heels, and Lethal whipped Harvey with his belt, and Harvey came back and ripped his shirt and pants off Lethal before tossing him over the timekeeper's table. This brawl looked completely out of place on a show that has bad brawling, because the brawling looked good here because all these guys know how to punch and sell and fight, and they looked like, he ripped his clothes off. It just looked good. Like, this was, if you're trying to get heat and two guys have heat, two factions have heat with each other, this is what the fight's supposed to look like. So then they threw Jarrett inside the ring, and Wheeler threw punches at Jarrett. FTR set up for the big finisher, but Karen Jarrett entered the ring and hit a Cash with a low blow, and then Jeff put Hardwood down with a stroke. Good timing on that, by the way. Then Satnam Singh finally comes up from selling, from going through the tables, and he's pissed. He rips his shirt off, and he picks up Hardwood and Cash and chokeslams the both of them. So he finally did something devastating to show that his size actually means something. And the heels celebrated with the guitar, everything. They guitared him, got heat, good heat here. I thought this is a very professional segment, in my opinion. What did you think of this?
Well, because you probably got Sanjay and Jeff putting it together, you know?
Right.
And FTR, they know they're too. So this is just storyline progression. People love FTR and hate Sanjay's group. Do you know the name of it?
I don't know if they have it.
Do they even have a name?
I don't know.
No, it's just
okay. Whatever.
You call him the Office.
Team Jarrett.
The Office, because he's got the pencil.
Right.
And
Jarrett used to be the Office. So let me tell you a story about.
Not a bad idea. It's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah. Let me tell you a story about our friend Rakesh, which is Sanjay's name. There was this. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's like this Indian elephant that's like their part of the Indian culture. He's like a good luck charm, and he's very, very revered, called Ganesh, and he's holding it in his hands. Have you ever seen him? Well, anyways, in one hand he's holding like 3 little balls, and I'm like, "What is that?" And he said that they were like Indian donuts, right? So I'm a big fan of donuts, so I ordered him some, and bro, I thought they were foul. I was like, is this a dessert or a donut? What is going on? I don't know if you were there in Impact when they had that truck, that little stand where you could buy snacks. Did you ever see that? It was by the bathroom.
No.
Well, anyways, there was this little thing that ODB ended up taking over where you could buy snacks, and it was right by the bathroom. Okay, because they would usually there wasn't no catering. So, anyways, so we put the donuts there for free because they were brutal. And people would take a piece of them, and we would watch their reaction, which is not good. By the end of the taping, and wrestlers love free because they're cheap, all the donuts are still there. They were brutal. So let me tell you this: Satnam Singh, who doesn't, again, as I said before, doesn't act or look mean. He's got like 4 moves: walking to the ring, walking over the top rope to put over his height, standing in the background. And this is the second time he's done a choke slam, which he should be picking the guy way higher than he is.
Right.
But those are like his 4 moves. Bro, let me tell you something. If they use Karen Wright, she's great. I loved working. Yeah, Karen Angle.
Yeah. She's Karen Angle. Karen Jarrett, right?
Karen Jarrett. My bad. I loved working with them in Mexico, and we got heat because they weren't afraid, like most of the heels today, to get heat. And there were even times where they told me, "Are you sure?" But, I love to push the envelope. That's always been my MO. Anyway, I would always say, don't worry, because I know when and where and how and when to stop or pull back. They were great heels. If she doesn't get lost in the shuffle, she's great.
Yeah, and she was great during the build-up to that the Flair's last match, too. But it actually says here, because you asked if this stable had a name, according to the Sportster, the Jarrett Lethal, whatever, they're actually called the Lethal Connection. This website says. I've never heard that, but that's what it says here.
The Lethal Connection. All
right, so next, Darby's interview backstage by Renee Paquette. She asked him if the way he won his match was a message to MJF because he beat the guy with a headlock, like he did the headlock takeovers or whatever.
Right.
Alan said that it was and spoke about the 4-way match, and Sammy Guevara showed up and said he knows Alan doesn't trust him, but Guevara said he respects Alan. Guevara said he wouldn't lay down for MJF or make it easy for Jack Perry. Guevara said that whether it's him, Alan, or Perry, one of them needs to take the belt away from MJF, and Guevara held his fist out, and Alan gave it a bump and said, "May the best man win."
That's how they're turning him face. He's coming in. He's giving this guy. Bro, he should have just said it in his promo. He should have just said it right.
This angle's getting like flatter and flatter with each corner. They're all being nice. They're fist bumping each other. Right. There's no heat. Yeah. So next they have Ruby Soho and Tony Storm against Britt Baker and Kira Shida. This match started off with Tony Storm kicking Hikaru Shida in the stomach repeatedly. She completely no-sold every single strike. It's very weird. There's like very awkward spots in here with these girls because these girls are like the perfect example of what I talked about earlier. Okay, they have a lot of stuff that they do in the ring that looks really, really good. They also do stuff in the ring that looks really, really bad. But it's like 80-20 for the stuff that looks good. But intermittently throughout these matches, they will constantly do these things that look terrible. And I just wonder, like, if the agency don't do that anymore. Like, to stick to all the stuff you guys that look good, because, like, a lot of the stuff they do in there is just, like, the way they – like, if they're doing strikes, the other girl doesn't know how to sell them. Ruby Soho – isn't finding the camera because they're catching her calling spots left and right in the ring, and like a lot of these girls are showing them, setting themselves in place for the next move. Like they take a bump and they're scooting over in the ring to get in space and room for the jump off the top rope, and the camera's catching all of this, which is very easily they could just shoot other stuff. So I'm saying, so like they look very green, but a lot of their stuff looks very, very good. And it's like they need to just erase the stuff that they do that doesn't look good, and this stuff would be more – the work would look better. But this is basically at the end Baker put Storm down and hit her with a stomp, and Saraya's at ringside. She kept interfering. They were completely burying the referee in this. And Baker joined the debate for a moment while Soho slid a spray paint can to Storm, and then Baker turned back to Storm who sprayed paint in her face, and Storm performed Storm Zero, and Baker pinned her after the spray can to the face. Based on what I said, everything here, Konnan, what are your thoughts on this match?
Well, this was this was a good match, but I was wondering why Saraya and Jamie Hayter wasn't wrestling. Then I heard that Jamie Hayter was injured, right? So I'm surprised again. At least, I guess I don't know if it's storyline or shoot.
Joe, look that up because she wasn't on the show and she should have been on the show. I guess if she's hurt, I want to know how she's hurt.
Yeah, and so this was a good match, but and I really liked the heel group. Toni Storm needed to change. She's way more comfortable, looks better, is wrestling better. I think this thing where they do the loser thing is so like 15 years ago. How long ago was that? Joe, what do you say?
What was it? I'm sorry, I was looking at the team.
You're a loser with the L.
Oh, geez, 20 years?
Yeah. Why are they doing that? That just seems outdated to me. I would really like –
Go ahead. I'll tell you after.
I would really like to see them with new dance partners. This to me is a little bit stale by now, and I'm not interested, and I should be, especially because I like the heel group a lot. Sheeta's more over than I thought, but she doesn't really impress me. I'm sure she's nice and professional, and everybody likes her, but that's only part of the equation. I do like that she changed her gear.
She did a weird spot at the end where she went to the top rope and did was coming down with a double knees. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, no. Yeah. I have another one. She was in the corner, and you know how you do the 10 punches in the corner? She was hitting her behind her head. Behind her head, and then the camera pulled away, and then they came back hoping that she, maybe it was an errant punch. She was still punching behind the head, and they had to take the camera away again.
She was punching. She was punching the turnbuckle behind her head. Is what she was actually doing. She was literally punching the turnbuckle. Yeah.
Okay. Here was the other one. That was worse. So remember when what's this girl's name? Britt Baker had Ruby Soho, and she was kind of putting her in the rings of Saturn so she could put the mandible claw or whatever. Uh-huh. Bro, Ruby Soho actually lifted her arm into place so she could hook it.
Right.
She didn't have her pick it up and hook it. And I was like, what are you doing? And the camera was right on it because obviously they didn't expect that to happen.
She was doing that where the camera was on her, showing her getting in position for moves and stuff literally.
I always tell wrestlers, don't you, when you're in the ring, always assume the camera could be on you.
Right.
You can't be doing fake and weird and not think that they might not catch you.
Right.
But anyways, yeah.
So it says Jamie Hayter. One website said it's a legitimate injury, but unspecified. Another site says it's she's just banged up. So there's nothing really concrete on it.
So Cassidy was interviewed by Paquette, informed him that 20 people took a fight. I think
Disco.
Can you hear me?
You're back.
No, you broke up.
Okay, so next. Cassidy was interviewed by Paquette again, informed him that 20 people took him up on a suggestion by talking to Tony Khan about challenging for the title. Cassidy said he would fight them all. He said they would have a blackjack battle royal for the international championship at Double or Nothing. And it's ridiculous. This guy's been the champion forever. They can't find like a character to do 4 weeks of TV and do an angle with and stuff and things. Just find random challengers every week.
Yeah.
It
seems like they're just making him the defending babyface champion right now.
All right. So Tony Khan stood backstage and said it was one of the greatest days in the history of AEW. He talked about Collision starting and all these dates for Collision in Canada. So that was a big announcement, but everybody knew that was going
to except that already been out before he said it, so it wasn't a big announcement.
No, what? Because everybody knew all this because all the dirt sheet guys and everything. Yeah.
Now, here's the thing too. It's obviously it sets a bad precedent for the perception to be Tony keeps giving in the Punk, but at the same time, this show it needs Punk to.
Bro, a lot of promoters. Let me just say this, Joe.
Yeah.
A lot of promoters over the years have given in the big stars. It's not just Tony. But go ahead.
I'm saying the show. It sounds like Warner Brothers, they want Punk on the show, and B, you're going to need Punk to really sell that United Center. So Tony's almost in a no-win situation. He's going to have to give in, but the perception now amongst the wrestling fans, at least, it seems like, wow, Tony keeps giving into this guy who's just being a bitch about little things, Yeah,
but that's just the smart fans, which might be the majority of their fans.
Right. I'm just saying from what I see on Twitter. Yeah.
I read somewhere, and I don't know how much credence I should put in this because it could be or not. I read somewhere where they were going to put Punk, and he said that he didn't want them to mention him for whatever reason.
I read that too, yeah. Or don't announce him too early or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jericho against Roderick Strong in the Falls Count Anywhere match, and basically this is actually very. It's kind of weird that they did They're doing a lot of stuff each week, and it's funny that Tony doesn't get any criticism for it because when Russo had matches like this on TV, when he was at WCW, the Dirt Sheet guys were complaining that they're giving away too much stuff that should be on pay-per-view. Okay, but they're doing blood, falls count, a lot of gimmick matches, cage match, everything, right? And there's no standards that were previously set, but by giving too much of this stuff away from free TV, you're losing stuff to sell on pay-per-view. But I don't care. I'd rather see entertaining television.
Sure.
But this was a good brawl. Roderick Strong's a good worker. And so the fighting.
Roderick Strong is very good. Yeah.
They were chopping the shit out of each other, which I don't mind if even though it's a brawl, they do a lot of chop, but they're chopping the shit out of each other. It's not they have to hit each other with 30 or 40 chops each in that. So this was like a fight. They did some gimmicks with throwing shit on each other, and the finish was a little bit kind of hokey in the big picture, but it worked because Adam Cole had been barred from the building. Well, the Falls count anywhere. They ended up outside the building. There was Adam Cole. He helped Roderick Strong beat him, which is kind of weird because at the end, Roderick Strong and Adam Cole are the baby faces, and Jericho's the heel, right, Konnan?
Yeah.
Roderick Strong at the end was literally begging off like a heel. They fought him and then Adam Cole came in and stuff, and they beat the heel with the baby faces 2-on-1. And it got a pop. It's like, for the thing.
Well, you got to remember that. You got to remember they got a pop because he's been Cole's wife.
Right.
And it's like, okay, you deserve it. It's almost like if some guys around with your girl and then you and me go beat his ass. It's like you deserved it. But I like the stipulation that they were barred from the building. And the first thing I thought, the booker in me and not the fan, was like, okay, somehow they're going to get outside of the building. And Jericho appreciates said is going to bust this guy in the ass. Right. And they swerved me, So I thought that was great. And I liked the camera shot of him coming out of nowhere and just nailing him. And I was
surprised too. I did not expect that at all. So
yeah. So that was good. And this was a false count anywhere, so it looked like those old WCW and Memphis
Mid-South.
Yeah, right. Mid-South, which was a great idea. I didn't understand why the people were chanting Y2J because that's his name from like 20 years ago or so.
Right.
I thought this was good. Good punch, bro. They lit each other up.
Yeah.
Both their chests were raw. They were trying to do different. They were channeling the energy of the people around them. Visually, it looked great. I mean, if you're just flipping the channels, you'll stop to see what's going on. This was very well done.
There was actually a very funny scene where, because they had a considerable crowd of people surrounding the wrestlers during the fight, so they had to make a wall of security, right?
Right.
And one of the security guys was getting very excited. It was like there was a black guy, I think he had a white shirt on. He was getting so excited that he jumped in front of one of the cameramen that was shooting the fight and almost knocked the camera out of the guy's off the guy's shoulder onto the floor. I was like, having seen the camera, it almost fell out and everything. Which would imagine if the security broke the camera. That'd have been hysterical.
You know what really looked really cool, and I was thinking, wow, maybe I might do that one day in Mexico. They had a scene where they were fighting, and the security guards were in front of the crowd, keeping him back, but they were walking at the same time they were fighting, and it looked cool. Right. So they're fighting, and right behind them, the camera's watching the security behind them, holding everybody back, but everybody's walking with them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that looked really cool.
It's like at the golf course or something. So next was once again, Jungle Boy Jack Perry's in the angle with the Sammy and thing, and so he's wrestling Roosh here. I don't know if there was any backstory to this or anything, but Roosh is out there with Jose. Decent match because Roosh is pretty good. Ref shoved the ref and bickered with him. Then Perry rolled up Roosh and held his tights while getting the 3 count. Then our boy Preston Vance ran out there, and he and Jose entered the ring and helped Roosh. Then Schiavone claimed the attack had MJF written all over him. Then Roosh and Vance choked Perry with a production cable. Then Darby ran out for the save, but he was outnumbered and choked with the cable. Then Sammy Guevara ran out and hit Roosh with the flying knee. And then, I don't know, there was a spot here where Jose looked completely lost because he just kind of like staggered into one of the guys and didn't look like it was just very weird. He just he looked like he didn't know what to do, and so they hit him. But there was very weird. Just a little spot I nitpicked. He looked like he was lost. And then they clear the heels to the ring, and then all the baby Guevara, Allen, and Perry are all seen in the corner, and they looked at one another, and that was the big sell there for the big pillars match because they were looking.
Okay, so
what do you think of this?
I don't think it was a decent match at all. I think it was a great match for Roosh. Bro, this was a head scratcher. You're preparing him for the world. Did you see this, Joe?
Yes.
Okay, listen to what I'm going to say and tell me if you disagree with anything I say, and if you do, what it is. You're preparing this guy for the world title, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you have to beat this guy with a roll-up and holding the tights, which, by the way, is not very uncharacteristic for him. I wonder if he is going to turn heel somewhere in the future. Okay? Right. But, bro, Roosh beat the out of this guy. He demolished him. He emasculated him. He ragdolled him. He dog-walked him. He threw him off the apron like fish at a fish market, bro. He got color. And then he slipped on a banana peel and beat him. I was like, you're getting this guy ready for the world title? Then the match was over and he got attacked by Vance and Rush. And by the way, like I said before, Vance and Jose add 0 to Rush. Rush is like Jade Cargill. He doesn't need anybody. You know what I'm saying? And then Darby Allin and Sammy come in. Why? And so, and this is what you're hyping for. This isn't the go home show. So I was wrong. I said that before.
Oh yeah.
This is like the penultimate one. All right. Still
tremendous work.
Them three looking at each other and them interfering for no real reason. And Rush just beating the out of this guy.
Let me tell you what that was.
Made me no sense.
How long has Rush been in the business?
Probably 15 years.
Really? And he's pretty high in the card.
They start very young.
He's pretty high in the card AAA, right?
These are top heel.
Okay.
When we use them, it's very rare.
16 years, yeah.
This was exactly what happens when you have a vet against a green guy, and the vet just eats the guy alive, and the green guy does not know what to do.
Right. Good point.
And then when the match is over, you go back and you look at tape, the guy ate me alive. It's like, he's from the school of, I'm going to eat you alive. You need to fight back hard. We need to make this look real. You know what I'm saying? So I think Jungle Boy was just caught. He didn't know if I was supposed to fight back here. Just like he just took the beating.
Probably nobody. Nobody. Rush not knowing the politics. They're not giving him. I'm going to get myself over no matter what. This guy's I've never seen anybody treat Jungle Boy like that in AEW.
Right.
You know?
I mean, seriously. And then I think that's exactly what it was. But the guy I don't think Rush was doing anything nefarious or anything.
No.
He's just wrestling like he wrestles, Mexico. You get your right, and the other guy comes back on you. And if he's not coming back on you,
we had a match.
Pissed out of you, right?
We had a match where it was the three, they're called Los Dinamitas, which is one of our top trios. They actually have the trios title. And their dads and uncles were huge in Mexico. I feuded with all of them, right? And they were like the top trio from CMLL. And I brought them over to AAA. And they had a match against Rush, his dad, and I believe his the Los Ingobernables, which is his group. Bro, they beat the out of the Dinamitas. And I was like, bro, if you don't fight back, they're not going to do it for you. I can't continue this feud if you're not going to fight back. You know, and they went in there and they did their work. I didn't have to tell Rush, why are you doing that? Why are you taking liberties? Because that's his style, you know?
Right. Yeah. The guy brings it. And, bro, Steve
you better bring it.
Stone Cold Steve Austin used to wrestle like that. If you watch Steve Austin, he used to make you work to beat him down.
Right.
And if you got blown up doing it, he would end up eating you alive.
You know who was like that too? The person you brought up the other day that was chopping you, Scott Hall. He was the same way. He was going to bring it. You better bring it because he's bringing it.
Right. You need to fight back.
Right. Scott Steiner's going to bring it. Scott Steiner's going to bring it. You better be able to bring it when you're supposed to because he's going to eat you up again.
But this was a perfect encapsulation of a guy that I've been saying he's a babyface that doesn't show any fire. And what happens if you go up against a vicious heel? The vicious heel ate him alive. Because you get the baby face, you got to show some fire sometimes. You know, he never did. So.
And sometimes we've seen with like the Tony Storm and others. Sometimes you turn heel, it just clicks. Look at Dominic. Maybe that's what he needs. Yeah.
So next was Jay White against Ricky Starks. This was fine. It's no dislike. Jay White's supposed to be like this guy's a former NJW New Japan champion, 2-time champion, right? Joe?
Yeah.
This match was like there was nothing special in this at all. It's like kind of just a basic match with, nothing in this stood out. At the end, Starks speared White and went for his finisher. White gouged the eye of Starks. Robinson entered the ring with a chair. While the referee's tied up with White, they keep burying the referees. Starks ducked the chair shot and then hit Robinson with it to clear him from the ring. And then he's standing there with the referee right in front of him and decided whether or not to hit White with the chair. And he decided to hit White with the chair and he got DQ'd. So after the match, Starks played Eric. They went 12 minutes, and that was the finish. And it was like the way it was executed came across as like three guys that weren't happy with their creative, and they just went out and did what they told them to do, and there was nothing to this. That's what this came across to me as. What do you think?
Well, when I saw that finish, I thought to myself, bro, I can think of 4 better finishes than that.
Right.
And I don't know, maybe because in this show I was specifically watching punches, and maybe it was just this match, but Ricky doesn't throw impressive punches either.
He's done. It's weird. Sometimes he does, and sometimes he doesn't.
Right. So maybe he's inconsistent. But yesterday he didn't.
You need your reps doing it, So go ahead.
Yeah. And the match was good. Nothing special, but the match was good. It did what it wanted to do: keep heat on the heels. Put a little heat on Juice Robinson.
But the white guy, what's his name?
Yeah.
Jay White, bro. He has. Yeah. It's like this did nothing to he's been unimpressive so far. It's like, okay, maybe he'll impress me tonight. It was like, hey, he didn't really do much to impress me tonight either.
Right. He's what I've seen from him so far is, he might have been a star in Japan, and I get it. He's a great worker because I've seen him in Impact, and I know he is, but he does not come up like a star yet.
Right. And then the matches are not rising above the level of any remember when, I'm not the biggest fan of his, but when who's the kid, the Vikingo.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Vikingo was going, oh, this guy's an attraction, this guy's a kid, and he came in his performance on TV, loly, wow, look at this guy. Jay White, we've got none of that.
But let me tell you a big problem with Vikingo.
Mm-hmm.
Vikingo came out there and they did a good rating. I don't know if it's all attributed to him or he's part of it, but they did do a good rating. And then the next time they bring him in, they put him in a battle royal, and I'm thinking they're going to leave him at the end so he can show off. No, they eliminate him. I think it was Miro
after a couple minutes, right?
No, not Butcher Blade, I guess. Yeah, after a couple minutes, and he wasn't on yesterday's show. Why are you not taking advantage of this kid? He's incredible. There is nobody like him.
Yeah. All right. So next is
Disco. Real quick, gambling question: what's the difference between a 1-unit play or a 5-unit play and a 10-unit play?
If your unit is $100, the play would be either $100, $500, or $1,000.
Got it.
So next is let me see here. All right, so next is the main event, which is Don Callis interview. So Tony brings out Don Callis. As Callis in the ring without entrance, he got Don Callis. Why? Shivani asked. Callis said everyone wants to hear him talk about what he did to Omega, but he's going to talk about what Omega did to him. Callis said he's the only victim in this scenario. The crowd booed loudly while Callis took credit for Omega winning the IWGP World Championship, facing Chris Jericho at the Tokyo Dome, and winning the AEW World Championship with Callis' first night in AEW. Without me, there's no Kenny Omega, Callis said. Kenny's entrance scene play, bro, he should have got more verbiage here and explanation.
I thought so too.
Right. So they came out way too fast. So Kenny Omega's entrance scene played, and he walked on the stage, and security stepped up. Then Omega punched out security guards, so he was attacked from behind by the Blackpool Combat Club, and they kind of beat him down. And they entered the ring after Callis had apparently made his exit. So Don Don came out and said 3 sentences and he was done, right? So Moxley got a mic and said the war was already over, and he said Omega and his friends couldn't touch him and never could. And Moxley told Omega to stay down and said it was his final warning. And Moxley said the Blackpool Combat Club is what everyone pretends to be. We are the elite, Moxley said. The Young Bucks entrance music played. They walked down the stage with a trash can filled with weapons. They were limping too, selling the attack from before. And as Caliber pointed out, they were still outnumbered. And Hangman Page made an entrance sporting an eye patch over his eyes. So it's like it's kind of funny. All 4 of these guys come out. They're all 4 hurt because of stuff the Blackpool Combat Club did to them. So they're all selling it too. So Omega handed Page a broom wrapped in barbed wire. And Page raised the broom and let out a primal scream before he and the Elite headed toward the ring, and the 2 sides fought at ringside with the Elite getting the better of it. And they got Yuta inside the ring with the Bucks hit him with the BT trigger, then held him up while Page hit him with a buckshot lariat. Then Yuta rolled out of the ring and was helped to the ramp by the other BCC members, and Page stood between Omega and the Bucks and said, "We are the heart. We are the soul. We are the spirit of this place. We are the Elite. So run and hide while you still can, because at Double or Nothing, it's the Elite, Blackpool Combat Club, Anarchy in the arena." Then Page spiked the mic and then joined Omega and the Bucks in raising their arms in the middle of the ring. What did you think of it?
This is what I thought. I thought that usually the show's too packed, and the ending segment felt very, very rushed. And that's why I think he only got those sentences. They were probably saying, "Hey, man, we got to wrap it up. We got to go. We got to go." And he's probably thinking. Right. And so, because everything felt really rushed, and not just his promo. You know what I'm saying? Page coming back, drew a big pop. Why does he have the patch on again? Did I miss something? Remember it?
The
screwdriver?
Screwdriver. Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't remember. I like when Moxley would say, "We are the Elite,"
Right.
It was good because these are your major players in the major angle, but it felt very rushed. And bro, to me, that if that's the most important thing on the show, and you got to cut an interview or two, then you do it. You got to let this have time to breathe.
Right.
Just looking back on the show in summation, and I want to get your thoughts too, Joe. I just felt for Tony, the collision thing had been all over everything. So your announcement you made was not that big. And that's been a couple times you've done that, and you don't want to get the reputation that when you're going to make a big announcement,
he already does have the reputation that though.
Okay, well,
so that's why it's kind of like it's always
too late. Then I like the trio of what are they? The Outcasts. I like that trio. I think they need new dance partners. Cassidy's really over. I can't believe he's not in a feud. And I really like the Jericho and Cole thing. Very, very puzzled at Sammy's behavior and not for explaining it. And very puzzled at the burying of Jungle Boy like that before championship match.
Right.
One last thing I just remembered. Bro, Don Callis and Christian have real heat. You know what I'm saying? And MJF, who still cuts the best promos, doesn't have their type of heat because people still cheer him,
Right.
But Don and Christian have really good heat right now, which is good.
Yeah.
What do you think of the show overall?
Like I said, I like Christian. I'm interested in that angle, even though it wasn't very good tonight. I think that the Dax angle with the Jarrett and Lethal has a potential to be one of the better matches I will like on that show in a long time, because
I would agree with that. Yeah.
So that's going to be good old school style style of wrestling I like.
And the people that are putting it together know what they're doing.
And I'm just like, bro, it's like as weeks have gone by, I'm just less interested in this MJF fillers thing. I don't. So like I said, about two or three things I like of the show, and I think I was entertained probably mostly by Roosh and Jungle Boy, because the visual, because I've said for the first time he's been on that show, Roosh looks like one of the best workers on the show because his stuff looks way more violent than everybody else's.
Right.
So they should push him as a tough guy, an attraction, and a bully, and maybe give him some heat. That kid needs a push, because you can make a baby face with him. Like beating the guys down and teach the guy to come back on him and stuff like things. So but that's been our AEW review.
What do you think, Joe?
I'm not into the 4 pillars angle. I understand what they're trying to do. Let's try to showcase the young guys, put them on top and everything like that. But it's not clicking for me. Like Konnan said, the Jungle Boy thing was very strange. The way he won the match, and he didn't look good there. Sammy going kind of back and forth. He's kissing up to MJF. They're best friends, and he's a babyface this week. I don't know. But you got to remember, I've been watching, but I'm not like I'll walk around there and do something else or whatever. But I'm paying attention. I'm just missing things, I think, or they're not explaining them well enough. Jericho and Cole, I was just looking at the card. They haven't announced it for the pay-per-view or anything. I hope it's going to be on there, because other than that, it looks a little lackluster. I agree about the Jarrett tag team match. That's probably going to be really good. Wardlow and Christian. That was an awkward opening, like you guys said, but they're going to put them in a ladder match, which I find intriguing, because are you going to have your big guy, Wardlow, taking all these crazy ladder bumps? Or are you going to have Christian taking bumps like that after his, injury history? It was kind of a middle of the road show for me, and that seems to happen more often than not. But hopefully with the addition of Collision and some maybe Punk coming back, spicing things up a little bit, it'll be exciting summer.
Interesting. So that's been our review.